Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Now, in today's news, we're going to be looking at this Florida law that bans banks from freezing people's bank accounts based on their background and political beliefs and what have ya. So, the title of this is called Ron DeSantis signs an anti-wealth law to stop banks from freezing Florida's bank accounts based on their politics. Now, the article says here that the Treasury Department has taken aim at Florida's new anti-wealth banking law, warning it could open the floodgates to criminals to use and manipulate the U.S. financial system. Okay, so basically, it seems like Florida is trying to put forth a law to stop banks from not doing business with people who deal with guns and stuff like that, which pretty much, okay, so the new law signed by Governor Ron DeSantis declares it would be unsafe and unsound for banks to consider non-financial factors like politics, religion, or environmental, social, and corporate governance when doing business. Okay, so I guess they're claiming that there are banks out there not wanting to do business with people who deal with guns and stuff, which makes sense because, people do launder money with, drug cartels. They launder money with guns and drugs. So, but, the governor is saying that this is gonna discriminate. This is gonna be discrimination of banks against individual based on their political beliefs. Okay. Now, so basically, the governor is saying that these banks are not supposed to discriminate against people's backgrounds and and religious beliefs and all of that. But the Treasury is firing right back, saying that, hey, man, nope, we got people laundering money and drugs through the banking system, so they need a criminal background check. Make sure they're not doing that stuff. So basically, the governor is saying we reject the global elite trying to force their ideology on us by capturing major institutions. DeSantis, who has led an aggressive campaign against the so-called woke ideology in the Sunshine State when signing the HB 989 into law. We are not going to allow big banks to discriminate based on someone's political or religious beliefs. But while DeSantis claims he's fighting discrimination, the U.S. Treasury has labeled Florida law and other similar laws under consideration in mostly conservative states like Arizona, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, and South Dakota as a political threat to national security. And this is why policymakers are butting heads over the so-called debt banking and what it means for Americans. So DeSantis saying this law will protect the access and conservative groups in the firearms industry have to their financial sector and stop them from having their accounts frozen or closed. The law makes it illegal for banks to deny or cancel, suspend, terminate its services to a person or otherwise discriminate against a person in making available such services on the basis of several factors, included but not limited to a person's political opinions, speech, or affiliations. Any factor, if it is not a quantitative, impartial, or risk-based standard, including any such factor related to the person's business sector, the person's engagement in the lawful manufacture, distribution, sale, purchase, or use of firearms or ammunition, the person's engagement in the exploration, production, utilization, transportation, sale, manufacture of fossil fuel-based energy, timber mining, or agriculture. It also allows forwarders to appeal unwarranted bank cancellations and restrictions through a coordinated complaint and investigatory process within the state's Office of Financial Regulation. This potentially places banks and other financial institutions operating in the Sunshine State between a rock and a hard place. They are required by law to implement U.S. criminal and national security policies, including stringent background checks, but in doing so, they risk breaching forwarders' broad-based anti-discrimination laws. But the Treasury has openly criticized the new Florida law and any other state laws that bar financial institutions from carrying out necessary risk assessments. In July, a letter to lawmakers obtained by the Wall Street Journal, Treasury Undersecretary Brian Nelson reiterated that the importance of banks being able to probe customers in order to prevent money laundering and counter terrorist financing. State laws interfering with financial institutions' ability to comply with national security requirements heighten the risk that international drug traffickers, transnational organization criminals, terrorists, corrupt foreign officials will use the U.S. financial system to launder money, evade sanctions, and threaten our national security. The letter was sent in response to July 8th request from Republican Josh Gottheimer of Missouri and Republican Brad Sherman of California, who shared concerns about the political negative impact of new banking laws. To any states that are considering similar laws, I urge you to think twice before putting America's national security at risk, Representative Geithner said in a statement. So this is kind of tough. It's like a balancing act. Of course, we do need to protect our borders, and do background checks on people to prevent money laundering and drug trafficking and, gun manufacturing and, cartels use, this system to, you know, do their business. So we want to make sure we stop that. But at the same time, it's also a good point that you shouldn't discriminate against a person's political opinions, speech, affiliations, or any factor. So this is a tough one. We're going to see how it turns out. Yeah, so that's the news for today. The banks are trying to freeze people's bank accounts because if you're laundering money or dealing with drugs and guns, we don't want none of that. But I think, people on the other side can, push back and say, no, 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 no. So this is quite challenging here. This is quite challenging. So, where do you put the line at, We'll see how this turns out here now. So that's it for today, guys. That's the news. So thanks for tuning in with me. And I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.